So hello and welcome to Beaute Espace TV. We are launching a new series today on sustainable beauty. And the first and foremost, we invite on our panel on this discussion, on this talk today is the brand Davines and Comfort Zone, straight from Italy. We have with us today, we are honored to have with us today, Ms. Divya Kohli and Mr. Davide Bollati. Davide Bollati, of course, is the chairman of Davines Group and Comfort, which includes Davines and Comfort Zone. And Divya is the director of Tangy Rose. She's a valiant lady who, for the past 2 decades, has been pushing luxury in Indian salons without any compromises, I must say. So she started with the spa, salon and spa furniture brands from Italy, Pietranera, Beauty Star, and Uki. And today, ever since 2015, she has also successfully placed Davines haircare brand and now Comfort Zone since 2019 in some of the most premium salon chains across the country. So welcome to Beaute Espace, Divya Kohli.
Thank you so much.
And of course, David, who is successfully established Davines. It's a world-class brand, now being known for its sustainable beauty. David has a degree in pharmacy. He's also a master's in cosmetic science from Fale University in the US. And ever since 1992, he's joined the family group and has been, being a cosmetic chemist himself, he's been running this brand and looking after it and supervising it very closely. He's also graduated from the Harvard Business School in 2008. And more than anything, the group also is part of, the B Corp, the whole fraternity of brands that group belongs to, where the prime focus is on sustainable growth, a growth that is that always keeps in alignment with the environment, with the growth of this entire community of people who live and survive on this earth. So welcome to Beaute Espace TV, Davide Bollati.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Honored to have you with us. So David, we will start with you. And my first question, of course, is we've known the brand and tracked the brand Davines in India now for almost 5 years. And it stands for a lot of things. But looking at your journey, first, I would like you to tell us about the key milestones in your career of taking, over the business, the family business, which your parents had built. And from there, having a vision to make it a global brand. How has this happened? If you can share some quick milestones.
Yeah, my parents started in the 80s, so I grew up on the beauty business. So it was natural for me to help my parents. They've been very generous to me and very long, because as you know, Italy, like India, family is very important. So it was natural for me to give back, and I studied pharmacy because some professors, some consultants of my parents suggested me to do that for my study in order to help the family business. So that's what I did. And then I went around in my 20s to get international experience. And when I was back in Italy, I started to formulate without that much focus on sustainability as of today. But it was just an idea. It was just almost like a gut feeling that that was the way to go. But then, in the last 15, 20 years, this feeling became very much our vision and mission and reason to be. Now it is very well structured in the company. Now we are benefit corporation. B Corps are companies that are stakeholder-driven and not shareholder-driven. Shareholders are one of the constituents of the company, but not the only mission and goal is not to give back to shareholders. It's about suppliers, clients, community, employees, nature. So that is first stakeholder-driven economy, and then when it comes to formulating, you know, I'm a pharmacist, of course, but the cosmetic industry in the last few decades rely heavily on the petrol industry. Let's say the chemistry derived from cracking. You have petrol, then you have heavy chemistry, then you have fine chemistry. And from that fine chemistry, you have lots of different materials that actually were quite good in delivering cosmetic solutions. But at one point, we realized that things are not that sustainable, so you have to change your way of formulating. And so now, let's say, in order to go one step further, it's maybe necessary to go one step back, and with new technology, try to get the best of old world with the translation in contemporary world.
Sure. So what was the concept of the Davines village, if you could quickly tell us?
Davines village is a house that hosts all the different values of the company. So it's a state-of-the-art pharmacy facility that this year we manufacture around 30 million pieces of beauty products at almost like state-of-the-art pharmaceutical level. Now the cosmetic industry is, in terms of requirements in production, is compared to the food industry or the pharmaceutical industry. So the standards are there. Then we also have inside the company. Well, first of all, it's a carbon neutral plant. Is 100% carbon neutral with a combination of renewable energy, solar, geothermic, biogas, plus mitigations in order to get to carbon neutrality. But then we also have a botanical garden, a huge botanical garden in front of our lab. We have around 30 chemists, and these 30 chemists, for biophilic effect, they formulate, let's say, in the middle of this garden with hundreds of different plants that we study here for performance. The challenge on sustainability is, it looks like in the past there were like two worlds. There were like the chemical beauty world and the natural beauty world, but the natural beauty world is very nice, but it doesn't work. The chemical it works, but it's damaging, you know, the system, the ecosystem. So we're trying to bring to match and marry sustainability with performance. That's our reason to exist.
And coming to, looking at Davines and Comfort Zone a little bit more closely, both are, positioned as an experiential, and very much in the luxe category. Tell us how each stands out, and what is at the heart of both the brands? What were you thinking when you were creating them?
At the heart of what?
The heart of the two brands, Davines and Comfort Zone.
Davines is about sustainable beauty. Basically, they're quite similar, but one is the expression in the hair and the other one expression in the skin. But the principles, the values are quite similar. When it comes to Davines, Davines is a brand that is dedicated to the hairdressing industry, to the hairdressing community. Therefore, we want to be the best tool in the hands of our dressers to express their job, what they do, and to please the consumer under the vision and mission of sustainable beauty. So it's a complete range of products that goes from color to styling to care and treatment, and that is I think we gain a position in the industry, finding this compromise. Of course, you have some areas that are challenging still. For example, the hair color area, some styling area. Then there is also the packaging that requires system change, but that is Davines. Then when it comes to, I'm talking about system change for better sustainability, because now it's about the life cycle of the product. So when you create a product, you have to consider the product from when it's from where it is born until the end of life. Then you also have to take care of end of life, and that is one company only cannot solve. You need to work as systematically. On skincare is a bit easier because and now on skincare we are even going one step further with Comfort Zone, conscious skincare. Yes. I'm sorry, conscious skin science. Conscious means I am aware, I have knowledge, I have a conscience. Therefore, I know how to, many things are interdependent, and I know that every consequence of my decision, every decision I make has a consequence. It's like karma. You know very well what karma means. So when we do things on Comfort Zone and Davines, we want to make sure that the karma works well for us and for the world. And now on Comfort Zone, we even have a new concept that is a concept of regeneration. So before it was about I want to reduce my footprint, I want to neutralize my footprint. Now it's about I want to regenerate. I want the world to become better with me instead of without. So we want to be a positive force, a beneficial force, instead of just minimizing or neutralizing. Before we were negative. So it's a big shift.
Sure. In fact, there's this quote that you have given, is from you, which says, mind-body balance, mental wellness, and stress management science are crucial for our health. And beauty and should always be combined with development of anti-aging cosmetic systems. That's your quote, which I have got. And I want to understand how you're trying to, in your anti-aging systems, how you're accommodating this philosophy. And if you have patents, I'm sure that, patents are a big deal in science, especially or in beauty science. So what do you think, as a beauty brand, how important are these patents, and how do you protect them apart from them?
Okay, so when it comes to anti-aging, we work with a scientific committee. Anti-aging is a multi-dimension phenomenon. Yeah. It's almost it's like a chronic inflammation that on a daily basis advances. So in order to approach anti-aging, we need to work on different levels. At the oxidation level with antioxidants, at the methylation level, which is methylation is an expression of our genetics. So it's an we have our genetic code, but then our lifestyle expresses or activates or deactivates our genes. So that's called epigenetics. Yes. So we realize that lifestyle is more important than our genetic set. Therefore, methylation facilitates epigenetics in a good way. So let's say counteracts negativity of lifestyle. Then we have a complex of actives that works on this, let's say, chronic inflammation phenomenon that is a systemic phenomenon that makes us aging. In fact, even now we are in a in a COVID phase.
Yes.
The latest findings of this virus is that it accelerates inflammation. It's a systemic inflammation. It's not only on lungs. It creates inflammation of the endothelium of the cardiovascular system. So inflammation is king in our aging process, and it comes on different forms. So that is when it comes to anti-aging, we have cardiologists, we have nutritionists, we have pharmacologists, we have dermatologists, of course, cosmetic chemists, expert in pharmacodynamics. So we need to put together, combine different sciences, also some different disciplines from different parts of the world. It's and then the art of combining all of that with formulas that work not only in theory but also in practice. Because here we have a test space in the lab where we have before and after. So we try all the raw materials to see what works, what doesn't work. On a raw material basis and also on a final product basis. When it comes to patents, I think it's about, yes, there are some molecules that are, you can patent them, but I don't believe so much in molecules. I believe more in systems in the beauty industry. Then once in a while, you have a few molecules that come up. Let's say maybe a couple of molecules per decade, not more. The cosmetic industry, most of the time, patent molecules for marketing reasons. But I think the most interesting thing is the culture and the way of thinking. So, for example, ourselves, we work with many different universities. We have we work with a university for sustainable packaging, sustainable waste, how to extract actives from natural plants in a sustainable way. We work also on molecules for the hair protection, the hair strengthening. We work on historical research. So we have different fields. We have different fields of different fields of research, but I don't think one molecule will make it or break it for a company like us. A company like us with 400 different formulas. It's about how we think, how we see the world, and how we put together the wealth of our knowledge.
Okay, so basically patents are not what exactly, not something that you get very excited about. You're more about, creating more innovations in your products that are sustainable.
Yeah, patents, I don't know, most of the time patents is to protect ourselves from competition. Many companies, they patent in order to, let's say, attack other companies I don't believe in this type of competition. And I think that actually in this world, we should more than compete, we should cooperate. And the industry has to come together. Sure. I believe more in Elon Musk that open up all the patents for his Tesla or his electric cars. He gave away all his secrets. He said, okay, take these secrets and let's move on for, to build a better world. I believe more on this. Patent is defensive, is protective, is egoist.
Yeah.
I think we should go beyond that, and we should. It's about time for human species to come together and to go to a different level of awareness and enlightenment.
Okay, fantastic. So that makes a lot of sense, given that we are fighting a global pandemic, and we are more and more the realization that we are all so interconnected. So, David, my next question is, of course, about COVID, and what have been your challenges, and how have you reflected in this phase?
Well, challenges, of course. Last year was the best year ever in the company. And this year is probably going to be the worst one for a few years. But on the first 6 months, now we are in a negative because we had to shut down for a couple of months. Italy has been hit very hard by COVID, and but now we are recovering quite fast. We had January; it was a great month. February also. Then March and April went down a lot. May we started to go back, and June probably is going to be the record month. So I know that India is a bit behind Italy on the pandemic. So please be strong, because there will be light at the end of this very, very hard moment. So hang in there. I think isolation, physical distance. Mask is very important. There is no other way to do it at the moment. So hang in there, and we'll come back. Our industry, the beauty industry, came back very strong because people are missing it so much. Not only because of the services that the beauty industry provides, but also for the social connection factor. Okay, we are all learning on how to do webinars and how to connect, which is great because we can reduce our footprint thanks to these technologies. But at the end of the day, we are social animals, and we cannot substitute our social needs and social interaction only with a computer and a screen. It has to be a combination of both. So now all the salons and spas are fully booked since weeks with long. So the beauty industry is one of the industries more resilient after in a COVID or post-COVID situation. For us, nothing much changed because now it's about people are more aware. People are more aware of, as you say, connecting the dots, because by not respecting nature, not respecting ecosystems, then you have consequences on everything you do. And then you start to realize that there is this butterfly effect in the world. So if one butterfly at the other side of your world goes from one flower to the other, well, there will be a consequence all around the world for this small act. That is something that now we realize there is not one country, not one company that can solve it all. There is not one wall. I know that some governors, they want to put walls, they want to close, but globalization is something that is here to stay. We just have to govern it in a different way. We just have to, we cannot avoid to do this, but in this world, we need to reorganize how it's organized.
Sure, sure. So, what would you say if you had to, put it in a couple of lines? That what were your biggest lessons in COVID, and how is your way of doing business maybe going to change a little bit going forward?
Now, business lessons is that I was quite impressed by the strength of nature, because on COVID, nature show us the strength, that she has the strength to come up very strong and very quickly, recovering from all the, let's say, the damages that we give to nature. That is a positive thing. The other learning is that unfortunately governments are not very well equipped worldwide, with very, very few exceptions, in running situations like this. The private sector, companies, corporations are a bit more efficient than public institutions in general. And that's so I think public institution and private institution in the future, they need to find better way to cooperate with each other, because because there is politics is in crisis in this world. It is something has to change. Maybe a stronger role of United Nations with the new rules. That is whatever. When it comes to business, business as usual for us. We know what needs to be done. We knew it before COVID, and we know it even more now. We're not going to change anything, except with maybe we will travel a little less. We will do a little less travels, and we will do more digital activities.
Okay.
Apart from that, business as usual.
All right. So coming down to your association and being a part of the B Corp, what does, why you're part of this group, and how has it impacted your vision and mission?
B Corp is a great organization, more than 3,000 companies. It's about, yes, you have good intentions. You don't want to harm what is around you. But how do you measure that? How do you translate, how do you execute good intention into, reality, facts? Because sometimes in life we have so many good intentions, but then we cannot execute them well, and that's, nothing changes. So when it comes to B Corps, we have systems that allow us to measure everything in different chapters: environment, social, product life cycle of products, all different, all the systems, energy, sustainable energy, all the systems in your company are measured. And if it's kind of like a certification that you can do, you can go also online, B Impact Assessment, BIA assessment. You can check, even if you are a very small business or a big company, you can do it. There are systems for more than 100 different sectors. So if you are, with your points above 80, you can say that you give more than what you receive. If you are below 80, it means that you take more than what you give to society. So we can say that we are giving more than what we take. We have we are 114 score, which is very difficult to get, but we can get also higher. You are measured on different areas of your business, and it is it's very good. It's very good to be part of this community of like-minded individuals. That we have a higher purpose in business, the purpose of making the world a better place and to be the best for the world. So Davines we don't want to be the best in the world. Yeah. We want to be the best for the world with through our beauty, ethics, and sustainability. That's a big shift. It's a big change. It's just three letters in the world, for the world, but it's a big change.
Fantastic. So at this point, I want to bring Divya into the conversation. Divya, hi.
Hi.
So we are talking about COVID and how it has impacted business. We know that the salon business, reached rock bottom, absolutely zero for the past couple of months. And we're also talking about sustainability as a very strong message being sent out by Comfort Zone and Davines. So how do you kind of take that message and bring it to India, and also tell us how you have tackled this phase of COVID, lockdowns and all that's happening.
Ritoo, just as David said, that yes, it's an impact which has happened, and first of all, one has to accept it, that it exists, and it can even go further. But you cannot be dwelling in that negativity that it's the end of the world. As Indians, we have seen so many. Our generations before our ancestors also have seen so many invasions and problems and rulers, and we've still, and bombings and, and name it. And we have seen a lot of things that have happened to us, and we've been very resilient. Yes, it is, I'll be honest, it's the last 3 months have been almost a standstill for all our clients and even for us, obviously. And it starts demoralizing everyone, because you don't know, besides your expenses that you have a challenge where you don't know with clarity where your future is, because, you know, people around you are not obviously in the best frame of mind, because they have the salons completely at a standstill. But we feel that even in these moments, if you see our social media and you see that we've been doing the online education, we have been doing a very good mix between talking about all the safety and hygiene, but at the same time, with the safety and hygiene comes the aspects of all the millions of disposable things.
Yes.
So what we are also stating in our online education courses, that yes, you must use all the safety precautions, but it is also essential that the correct disposal of those safety equipments are met. Otherwise, the environment will have even a bigger problem. And today we have a corona, tomorrow we may have even a bigger challenge to deal with.
Yes.
Corona is a learning curve. Sometimes I get very low, and David tries to inspire me. He is my inspiration, but that, you know, yes, just hang in there. It's a moment that we have to fight this together. And, but we have to not fight it in a negative fashion. We have to fight it in a positive way. So we are trying to do certain changes, which we will announce it. Rather, David will announce it in early July, which we are doing for India. I don't want to bring it all out, but yes, it's important, the digital aspect. We think the way forward is to do a right blend of digital and actual physical salon system, because sometimes we cannot reach the end consumer.
Yes.
So how do we get to them? How do we get the message of sustainability, which Davines and Comfort Zone have been strong, they have been strongly proposing this for the last couple of decades. So we are trying in our own way, through our salons, through our social media, to get this message across. Be safe, be careful, but at the same time, our products, unlike a lot of the other brands, our brands have very safe ingredients, great for the environment. If you want to use it at the salon, it's fabulous, because you're not only going into great treatments, but you're also learning how to use the products. But on the other side, you may take the home care and use it, and we will help you use it and also dispose it correctly, you know. And so for me, it's a, you know, it's
before, I'm sorry to intrude. I'm a bit excited about you telling us. I think a few months before, all this chaos, erupted. We have seen you launching, rolling out the green salon concept, and
Yes.
down south and even up north. So what was the response to it? And I think that was something like, you're like preempting this arrive so soon.
So I'll tell you very honestly, when we first spoke about sustainability, people used to think it's only about planting a tree like in a box, green, or go green, or is it because it's just got to be silicone free, paraben free? But I learned a lot, everything from our educating myself, educating my team, educating the hairdressers, who for us is the star, because he's the person who is going to be the advocate of your product to the consumer and the client. We had to explain to them that it starts from the thought, first of all. You have two beautiful hairdresser and as well as a skin therapist, because we have Davines and Comfort Zone, is to first talk about that we want to give you a product which will help your client. But at the same time, it is going to help the environment too, because we are not going to damage it, unlike other brands. Secondly, when it comes to the, the retail stands, the merchandise, it was not just only about the products, because the products Davines and Comfort Zone had carefully taken care of, but we had to translate that, which meant I did not want to have any retail. You have seen them. We don't want any retail racks. We don't want with the plastics and acrylics, and we wanted to give, so we use things which could be recycled, or, wood that had been recycled back into it. So when we were doing this, I spoke to Vikram Mohan in Bounce Salon, who was planning to launch, and we came up with this idea that, why don't we look at doing a very unique salon, which is completely sustainable, or almost sustainable. And he was very influenced, Vikram, by the concept of Davines and the sustainability. And David and his team were very kind to help us, with the information where it came to renewable energy, using solar panels or water recycling plants, or every aspect, even for the floors, ceilings, everything, disposable cups, everything was with hemp cups, and towels. And it was a very it was very amazing experience. And now, today's date, it's one of the only unique salons which had that. Once we had that as a base, we started advocating that to the other salons. If you could change your salons in a small way, you don't have to revamp it. It's okay. We don't expect you to go all out and turn 180 degrees, but can we try in small ways to make it as sustainable as possible? And then we saw that change happen in other salons in a small way. It's okay. We're not expecting you to reach the final line, The journey is important. It's important to learn, and then slowly, steadily, you will get there, And I think whoever imbibed that has realized that they've become unique. Those salons have become unique. Davines and Comfort Zone are very unique brands, so they are not just about the product.
Okay.
So it was really
sure. So my next question, I think I want both of you to answer, is that when it comes to organic and sustainable and all these terms, when they come together, they also create this impression in the mind of the customer that this is going to be expensive. So it is, in my assessment, it is a relatively, a more, maybe a more cautious, because there is an effort that also goes, which is bigger, and it is, since it's not happening on a large scale, obviously, there are reasons why it ends up becoming more expensive. But where do you see this perception going, and how can we kind of make it more, less of an apprehension and more of an idea where people think, okay, I'm investing in my health, or I'm investing in the betterment of this earth. So where do you think it's going?
David, would you like to say?
I can start in asking also a question. What is the cost of clean air? What is the cost of clean water? What is the cost of global warming? I think as a society, we need to factor in this type of externalities that are not considered at the moment a cost. Right now, it's all about carbon sink. It's about, we committed to net zero carbon in 2030. And it is one of the main sources of pollution in the world is agriculture, believe it or not. So agriculture can be depleting the soil, or can enrich the soil depending on how you practice it. Yes, is it a little less? Is it less economic than intensive agriculture? Yes, but now there are new technologies, so it's really about investing in new technologies, investing on regenerative economy, believing on it. And also the way we count things. I think the way we calculate GDPs of country, the way we calculate the output, the way we calculate the price of products, I think has to evolve according to this, and we need to start to give the right price to right things. Then it's all about, again, systemic change, changing the course of the economy, as we are trying to do. Now we are working with, we organize summit alliances, working with government, working with United Nations to try to change it. It's a big change. It's very exciting. We are not here just to, you know, to make some money in selling some beauty products. We have a higher goal, and it's a much more rewarding one.
Sure. Okay, that sounds interesting indeed. So, what is you've always spoken of? I was hearing a couple of your speeches. Some of them were in Italian. Sorry, David, so I didn't understand the whole context. But I understand that you work a lot with the community where you are. You work with the Parma, in the city Parma. You are situated in Parma, and you have some, you know, projects where you work with your community. How do you do that?
Okay, the good citizenship has to be a characteristic of every single entrepreneur. So when it comes to this sustainability, it starts with you, individuality, at the micro level. Then it has to go also with your community. And we work in many communities. So also Parma is one community. But it has to be the same for Divya in her community. And all of us, we should have the same approach. Then I will tell you what I will do in my community. Then you have a more, a bigger scale. That is the scale maybe of your country, of your region in the world, and then the scale of the planet, because you go from individual to global. So you have from micro to the microscope to from the telescope. So that is you need to have that approach of unity. When it comes to my community, I do a lot of things. So we ask the mayor to plant a lot of trees. We facilitate a green kilometer, 11 kilometers, 20,000 trees, or close to a freeway. Now we ask the mayor to candidate Parma as a European Green Capital. We tried, but we failed. We didn't win because we had some weaknesses. So now we are working on these weaknesses, and we will try again. This year, a city in Finland won. She's a European Green Capital. There are 11 points. Very interesting also for Indian cities. Maybe to get inspiration from that. Then we also have a project of Regeneration Alliance. It's an international project. Oh, and the last one, we are asking the Parma County to become carbon neutral. In order to do this, we need to work on 10 different initiatives: construction, protection of the land, agriculture, renewable energy, smart mobility, air, water, noise, government of the system. So there are governance of activities. It's a lot of things in order to make a city sustainable. So we are helping on this, but not only in Parma. Our goal is to help in all the countries we are. So in 80 countries. Vikram has been fantastic, by the way, because Vikram, like India is an incredible country. We know that, right? So India has a lot to teach to the world, a lot, but also has a lot to learn from the world, like any other country, like Italy, like United States. Every country has something very good and also something not so good. So I think it's about sharing best practices between us, and that is what gives us the strength and the generosity to carry on. So I hope from what I've done in Parma, I learn it from different parts of the world, and then I want to share this knowledge with other communities, and I'm sure that Vikram and Divya and other Davines and Comfort Zone partners in India are working on a daily basis for that, also for India.
Sure. So how has your experience been in India with the brands, and how far do you visualize it going? Do you at some point see manufacturing in India happening? How are you assessing it?
The experience has been great because we started with a very genuine partnership, and it went beyond my expectation because I saw things that I would have not expected. It was very rewarding to see the starting, for example, the opening of the first sustainable salon in India. It's a milestone that I feel a bit proud of, that I've participated with Divya and Vikram on this one. And then I think, I hope I will do our best to work on expanding the concept, because I think this is a concept that is needed today more than ever. And also, as we come to competition now, we are not the only one. Now everybody talks about sustainability. That's fine. We are not jealous. We are not upset. When we started, nobody was talking about sustainability. Now everybody is sustainable. So that's great. I think that's exactly what we want to happen. So we want everybody to cooperate, because you cannot do it alone. By yourself, there's not much you can do.
Sure. So education has always been a big part of your offering in any case, wherever you are. But what about India? I want both of you to answer this question on education, because Indian salon business, the industry, education, there's a huge gap there still, despite the fact that we have some great training schools and we've been growing it. But when it comes to professionally educated employees, there's still a big gap there. So how do you plan to work on that as far as India is concerned?
So I'll start that out, because then he can lead the way.
Yeah.
The first thing that when we got around to talking about starting Davines and Comfort Zone, like he asked me, he says, what do you want, as a support? I mean, of course, they gave me a lot of support, but he asked me, what is the support you want? And I said, I want education. And I want the best of your education team to be directly here, and not only just teaching them the steps and methods of doing the therapy or doing the treatment or doing the hair services, but also to teach them directly the heart of Davines, to bring that soul which is there, which is sustainability, into the educators. Now, Brian Soor, who is a very key master trainer and who's been there with Davines for 20 years, and we also had Julie Wren and Helena Holden from Comfort Zone at various stages. They were very personally involved. When we even interviewed our own education team, when we were recruiting them, they were very involved because they wanted people who were good, people who were never shy of learning, people who were not afraid of imparting education. And the good thing was this, that they said no job is small, which means an educator doesn't only teach you through their slides and through their hands, but helps you even in the smallest of ways, which is, they clean the shelves, they set up the retail, they teach them personally. They don't need assistants to finish a haircut or a therapy. So these are good value systems besides just teaching them the ABC. Yeah. And even in the ABC, they are very thorough, very detail-oriented Davines and Comfort Zone, which means if these are the steps, then you cannot take a shortcut from the steps, which I realized because we hired some amazing technicians, and they're fabulous people to begin with. They came from great brands, but even they today tell us that they learn so much so that is something I realized is still missing, which means that one needs to not just teach them a book value and a baseline haircut or a hairstyling concept, is to take it from that level to the next level up. Make them confident that you can become the face. An educator, why does he need to be in the background?
Right.
Why does a hairstylist need to be in the background? In the rest of the world, they're leading from the front. So even in our country, we need to take these very special people and professionals and make them feel that they have a beautiful brand in their hand, and tomorrow's date, they can take the salon up to a different level, you know, using the correct techniques, the correct approach. So I think Davines and Comfort Zone, the heart of the brand, besides sustainability, is education. It's a very clear-cut thing. And imparting good values, imparting good systems of training, and they keep training, retraining. Events also, our educators are all involved on the floor. Each stylist is supercharged because they're always wanting to become better. And I think that's important, Ritoo, because that's missing in our, you've seen it yourself, you know, you've been to some of the salons of, come on, I can ask you that question, where there has been Davines. Do you feel that there is a difference? I'm not just going to take names, but I would love to know that, you know. Did you feel that?
I think I have, in fact, I have personally been using the brand for a while now.
See, it's nice, right? David, she uses Davines. And I didn't give it to her. She bought it.
I bought it.
That is even more, makes you more happier.
I believe in, you know, investing in good brands. So basically, I really feel very strongly about the way they have embraced your brand, you know, after having worked with, I don't want to name them, but, you know, one and all
the brands.
You know, all the brands. And now they kind of talk as if, you know, this is the only brand you should pick up.
So it comes from the heart, right?
Yeah.
So why is it coming from the heart? Because they are feeling that the brand has touched them. You know, when a teacher, when you go to school and you have a very good teacher and you're very young, and the teacher actually holds your hand and imparts some knowledge and it goes straight to your heart, that stays with you for the rest of your life.
What do you know, it's more about, it's not only about professional skills that are very important, it's about culture. And what is better in life than learning? So I think Davines is a brand, when you embrace Davines, you embrace humbleness, you embrace wanting to learn. It's, the world is complex. There is not, it's about keeping on learning. Sustainability is a complex thing. You cannot take shortcuts. So when it's about loving, having the curiosity to learn, to search, to study. It's a journey. We didn't get anywhere. We still have a long way to go. And that is, I think, the mentality. So there is not much that we have achieved. So I think it's a culture that is interesting because it's a good culture. It's a good humble culture, and that may put you in the right condition to learn. And when you learn, you grow. You go on your journey. You grow. Some brands, they tell you, okay, if you buy me, you are right. You have arrived. You have a status. You are somebody. If you work with others, you are nobody. You just have to work on a journey and keep on the journey. It's not, that's probably a difference.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you can run a short race and win it, right? And then what? But then wouldn't you like to be on a nice long marathon, enjoy the beauty, meet different people, learn something from them, impart something to them, and finish the journey in a long period, but in a very accomplished period, you know, an accomplished feeling that it gives you. So it's a long journey. We have a long way to go. I would like to also add something to what David said. You know, it's one of the real reasons that even I feel that somebody like me who was not from, you know, this field of cosmetics, I came from salon furniture and before that from garments. I had no idea how to do this business or even had an inclination towards it. I was very happily settled in what I was doing. And when I met this gentleman, and he was sitting very quietly in a coffee shop because I said, can we meet early in the morning? And it was 7 a.m. because I'm an early riser. I didn't know he was an early riser too. I mean, and when he was sitting there, chairman of the company, imagine, without anybody in a coffee shop of my hotel, okay, the first time. And we met, so humble. Never tried to show me his business card. Never spoke about a single product. He didn't say what we were doing in terms of this is my product, it makes your hair straight or makes it smooth. Nothing. We didn't talk about a product. We didn't talk about any prices. We didn't talk. All he just spoke about it was that he loved India. He had met the Dalai Lama just the day before.
Yes.
And at the Global Wellness Summit. And he felt always connected to this country. And he said he wants to do something special in whatever way. And he had these brands which were special and was sustainable, but he wanted a partner here in India who understood that special children. And I was, you know, so in that 1 hour that we were together, not knowing the product, not knowing anything, he impacted me so heavily that I actually started thinking, you know, what I could do. So it just shows what he says as being humble. I
remember that with you where you used to be like, no way, you know, you have these giants in this country.
Yes, come on, you know, in more than the aspect of the giants, I believe always that I was brought up with the idea where I have 2 siblings. So I always feel you have to coexist. 3 of us are not the same. We are different, you know, children, but we have to love and care for each other. Each one will do. We don't compete with each other. We compete with our own selves and improve ourselves. But yes, I did face a lot of resistance, a lot of challenges. But Davines and Davide Bollati and Comfort Zone have really stood, and especially this man, Davide Bollati. I mean, he is truly somebody, not just my idol, but I think an idol for millions of users and hairdressers across the world. And I've seen it at the various conferences. He doesn't need an entourage. He doesn't need to speak about the product. He talks about love for the environment, love for humankind. And if you really love that, then you will always produce things which are really good, not just to make money.
Divya, so what are I'm sure that you had huge challenges, you know, setting it all up here in India.
Yes.
With COVID, that would have multiplied many times over. But what are your plans going forward? I understand that you have this proposition in We Care, you know, that whole concept that you rolled out. But do you have targets in mind, even after the break that has happened? I'm sure for 2021 you want.
Yeah, so when you know, the salons have just about started opening, and some places it's not even open, and where it's open, it's like barely any you know, footfall. So we realized that you know, the therapists and the stylists, the owners, of course, of the salons were doing as much as they can, you know, to help them out with salaries and everything possible, considering that even they were not making any money. We said that whichever centers have opened, without asking a salon to purchase a single product, you know, or a spa to purchase a single product. I wanted to incentivize all the therapists and stylists.
Sure.
Because nowadays, every bit counts, right? Because the money is important. It's for the technicians, the therapists and stylists. So I used to, when we started Davines and Comfort Zone, I used to keep aside a small amount of money, and I used to not touch it. And it used to be, for me, it is the we care concept. Sure. And so what I decided to do was that whatever existing stock the salons have, whatever they sell, the stylists and the therapists, we will give them a certain amount of money per product that is there. And we started it off in this COVID period as soon as the salons open. It doesn't matter. I don't have to make money in that. If my own small way, I can help them. And I told them, there are no terms and conditions of them having to buy products from me and then I will give you the offer. No. What you have, I want to help them. Going further, I really feel that we can take a lot of, that is what I will make Davide announce when we go, with the digital space. We will start a proper We Care Foundation, which will be for therapists and stylists. Proceeds from our income. It is not from our profits, from our income that is there.
Sure.
We have to put a certain percentage aside, and it has to go towards two aspects. One is creating sustainable, help in creating sustainable spaces, which could be not necessarily related to our industry. It could be an area in your suburb and which needs help and it needs, development and it needs funds. In the other side, in our own industry, we have therapists and stylists, they're not so educated. And sometimes we have the challenges. So how can we educate them for free? And I want to get them to a level that they become better. And especially a girl child is very dear to my heart. It's like my niece is adopted. And so she was just a year old and she got the opportunity to have loving parents. I would like to take children who are not so privileged, give them the opportunity of, if they're interested in building this up, and help them place tomorrow's date in the salons and spas after they are trained.
Yep.
And get them to whatever special way. It's important for me, I don't have to take the money to the grave. It's going to be left here, right? So
that's what we don't get. Okay, cool. So both of you now we're going to have some fun. We've had a lot of very interesting and good inputs about your businesses and how you're taking it forward. Thank you for that. Now I want you guys to quickly dwell upon a few things, if you don't mind, on personal grooming front. If we want to hear from you, what being in the grooming business, and we have a cosmetic chemist here, so we want to understand what you guys are doing for your grooming.
Davide, what are you doing for your hair?
on my hair, I try competitors' products and look at the result. And for face, now I work on I always try new products. Now I'm working on a product that will come out in the next few months, and I'm using this one because I've participated in the test.
So he's the guinea pig.
Yeah, it's called Sacred Nature.
The new Sacred Nature.
Yeah, it will come out a few months from now.
Okay.
Sacred Nature, Ritoo, is an organic, it's almost not 100%, but it's a pretty organic line and an amazing line. And this is a new version.
No, the new one will be 100%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Fabulous. So that's fabulous. Now me, I'll be very honest. I used to be terrible. I used to use very limited skin and hair products. I was always, I work 24/7, right? So, and I love the gym and early morning and then just running. So everyone used to think that she's like really taking care of herself, but I was not really taking care. I guess because I'm a Pashtun, so I had this straightish hair, and so people used to think. Then when I started using Davines, like I'm like in love with the Davines milk. I cannot live without it. It's been now 4 years, even before I started it. It's like my bread and butter.
Divya, you are our best model. Like you are the best spokesperson we could have. We're so lucky.
Yeah. So I for a person like me who's really busy, I think I cannot have very extensive schedule. So I make sure I definitely use the correct, I do use a face wash, which is an essentials face wash from Comfort Zone. It's very mild, it's very gentle, because I don't wear much makeup, so that's really neat. I use a skin defender, which is again Comfort Zone, which is so light and it's very nourishing, and it's the perfect, it's not heavy. And for my hair care, I use the Natural Tech replumping shampoo and conditioner, and I just use the oil milk. And you can see it's always shining. People tell me, "Well, have you straightened?" I said, "No." this is actually Davines. I've been using it for the longest time in Comfort Zone. So now and I'm 49, so it's not bad. it's working really well. And what about you? What are you using in terms of product?
Well, I tried the plumping one, but somehow I have very frizzy and dry hair. It didn't work so well. But then I've now converted to something called Oi.
Yes, that's the same one I use.
Yeah. So I'm going to be starting on that now, because I told guys that, and I need a bit of scrunching in my hair. Otherwise, I don't like to do too much of heating and,
Yeah, same here. Yes.
So, yes, I'm getting there with Davines, although I love not only the experience has been good, and, the fragrances are amazing. So I really want to understand that. Because normally, the fragrances that come to us from shampoos are not my favorite ones. But here you've got some amazing fragrances in your products.
What do you say, David, about the fragrances?
Fragrances, you want to have fragrances that are hypoallergenic, especially in skincare, that are natural. And so you have to reduce a lot your choice, because sometimes natural fragrances, they can create allergies in skin. On hair, you have a little bit more possibilities. But we work with, for example, specialists, and we ask them, we want natural fragrances, allergy-free. So it is very, very difficult, not always achievable. So we cannot have that strategy in all our product, but this is where we are going. So in some other cases, but we do panel. We have an area of our garden. I hope you can show some images.
Yes, I shared the images.
We have an area in our garden where we harvest plants just for their smell, and we test them. Yeah.
And you know what? I feel that the Tranquility blend, which is from the Comfort Zone, it's used for the welcoming ritual.
Yes.
Have you had a chance to inhale that? That is one of I would say the most hypnotic. I call it really hypnotic, because once you just take a few drops and you just inhale it, you feel like you've calmed down, you're relaxed, you're ready to just take a, So it's actually very, as David said, it's very difficult to create something which is natural, and yet it should bring, you get you attracted to the fragrance.
Sometimes you can, but for sure, in the fragrance world, the fragrances can change your mood. We know that. It's called psycho-aromatherapy. So you can influence the mood of people, the mood of your day.
I take a dab of it. I take a dab of sometimes I cannot sleep. I just take a dab of the Tranquility blend, and I just put it on my, where I can just, near my earlobes, or sometimes I just put it on my pillow a little bit. And I just crash out.
Yeah. So before we leave, I want to understand, both of you are, you're work addicts. I can make out. What are your...
So I wake up at 4:30. He wakes up at 4 a.m. So he's even worse than me.
So the fitness regime you guys follow, how do you do your fitness and wellness? How do you take care of that? Because that's so important.
Myself, it's a challenge because it's a lot related to your mindset. And so what I do, I swim, I go by bicycle. I'm lucky that I live in the countryside. So in the morning, I take the bicycle and I go. I do 20-25 kilometers. Mm-hmm. This morning I couldn't do it, and I feel I should have done it. So then sometimes unfortunately I like to eat, so I have to go to. Sometimes I go to a beauty farm for a week. So it's it's a journey. It's a journey. Also, it's a discipline. And you have to have the discipline. You have to accept. I don't have a lot of discipline on this regard, so I have to be careful. And now next month I'll take my mom, and I will go with my mother for a week in a beauty farm to slow down.
But from my side, I'm like I wake up early morning and I'm on the street. I run. Because with the corona, the COVID, you cannot, there are no gyms, nothing. So I run for an hour, and then I come back and I do some yoga and meditation. Because how do you deal with the inner demon? You've got to, combine that and to feel positive. And for me, if I don't do some kind of physical activity, I feel restless because I have immense amount of nervous energy. Everybody knows that. And to convert that into positive energy, I always say one should do a nice routine, whatever is like sometimes I used to do strength training, but now I'm more into running and yoga and meditation. And I feel that is the right balance that I'm able to keep between my inner and outer self. I try to be careful with my food. Yes, I have sweet tooth, but sometimes most of the times I'm generally careful. And I think it's important because whatever we consume, and I'm a vegetarian, I don't drink or smoke. So it's just I've tried to keep myself as free from as many toxins. So it helps me because it's not about you only looking younger or your body looking fitter, but I think your insides also.
And then there are your treks.
I do a lot of treks. It's been a long time. It's been a year and a half. But if I can climb like 20,000 feet, I feel, yes, I hit it. So,
have you been to the tiger's nest?
I've not been to the tiger's. Yeah.
That's something you must do.
Yeah. I was telling David once that there is something in Argentina.
Yeah.
And I told him that it's a 14-day trek and it's really hazardous. But I would like to go, and he's promised me he's going to come with me on that. It's nice because remember the mountain is the journey is like a journey of life. I learned every day of life you will face hurdles. So the mountain is also like that. You see some hurdles, and then you have to become strong mentally and physically to reach there. And every day there will be another challenge. So it's just taught me never back down. You've got to go further.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's the journey. Enjoy the beautiful journey. And that's...
I have a meditation master with whom we all went to Bhutan.
Oh, wow.
Australians and a couple of us Indians. And then we went across Bhutan. It's beautiful, you know, and we trekked and meditated. And so this tiger's nest is 4,000 meters up, you know, and it's a very steep, rough terrain. And with me, with all my weight and everything, I just the power of, you know, the meditation, the thing that builds in you, you know. So I agree with you, like, you know, climbing is, you know, especially going to the hills, and it's almost like every day in your life, which you're living, you're actually climbing. You know, every day that you're negotiating your life.
Now that you're talking about Bhutan, sorry, I need to say that I was in Tiger Nest in February, and we are working with the Center for Bhutan Studies.
Wow.
The next international conference on gross national happiness by the Bhutanese government is done. It will be done in Parma, Italy, along with us on this Congress Regeneration 2030. We work very closely with the Bhutanese government and with the Center for Bhutan Studies. Dasha Karmaura is the chairman, and the idea is to you know, they are working on happiness, and is to transform the economy more toward happiness than toward just economics. Economics is not a very, you know, it's not a science. It should be an art, and right now is a bit the art is a bit bad art. So to try to make it better with the help with the Bhutanese is one of my big passions. And Tiger Nest is amazing.
Oh, I would love to hear more about that. So thank you. Lovely, lovely talking to you, David Bollati.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Ritu, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you. And all the best for your day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.